the CEO of a publicly traded company, staying late at work just to drive an intern to a street food stall. Even though Ava denied it, even though she insisted nothing had ever crossed the line with Ethan, her mind had already cheated on me a million times. At that time, the very sight of Ava made me want to throw up. If she so much as touched me, I would be violently ill. Over time, I stopped asking anything of her. I no longer cared who she had dinner with or why she came home late. But that made her unhappy. She'd get drunk and scream at me, asking why I didn't care about her anymore. Ethan was just a tool she used to provoke me. A shirt stained with lipstick, blatant public appearances together. I'd just glance at them with a blank face. I wasn't surprised at all when their fake relationship turned real. I hung up on Ava, my 19-year-old temper flaring. I cursed into the phone, always offering me things nobody wants. The next day, I went to the address Wendy gave me to meet the star lawyer. I'd been stirring my coffee for nearly 30 minutes when the person across from me finally lost their patience and tapped the table. "Leo, are we getting this divorce or not?" Honestly, being seen in such a pathetic situation by my old nemesis was mortifying, especially since the memory of our last argument was still fresh in my mind. A 16-year-old girl with a backpack, looking at me coldly, her words sharp enough to draw blood. "Leo, you have terrible taste in women." I composed myself and looked at Laura. We're getting it." I wasn't sure if I imagined it, but a faint smile seemed to flash across Laura's lips before disappearing. She cleared her throat. "All right, what are your thoughts on asset division and child custody?" I looked at her seriously. "I want every cent of the assets I'm entitled to. Of course, if Ava proves difficult, I can be slightly flexible." Laura's finger paused over the custody section. I hesitated. "The kid doesn't like me. I don't want custody." She paused. "Fine. As for the money, I guarantee I'll get you every last penny you deserve. After all, the woman cheated first, and there's solid proof." Perhaps worried she had overstepped, she glanced at me and said righteously, "Sorry. I have a natural sense of justice. I can't help but call people out when I see wrongdoing." I didn't mind. Instead, I thought for a moment. "I have some evidence, but not a lot. I'll gather more in the meantime." Laura looked at me. "Don't worry about the evidence." It was a strange look, the same one she'd given me at my wedding to Ava. When Ava and I got married, Laura, my sworn rival, had shown up. She wore a tailored women's suit that outshone even the bride's dress in style, cut, and price. Ava's friends had joked about it, saying anyone who didn't know better would think Laura was the groom. The comment had made Ava burn with jealousy for days. I just thought she was crazy. What was there to be jealous of with Laura? Since high school, I had consistently kept her in the number 2 spot in our class rankings by a margin of just 3 points. She had never once managed to beat me. She should have hated my guts. That night, my text notifications from Laura went off nonstop. I opened the chat and saw a flood of messages asking for documents. It was past midnight. Do all-star lawyers work this hard? No wonder she had such a great track record. Fighting off sleep, I sent her everything she needed. She replied immediately. "Still up?" I crashed into bed, missing the message she sent and then quickly retracted. It read, "Leo, I'll help you, no matter the cost." Laura worked fast, so fast I almost thought she got her law degree just to handle my divorce. My plan was to try and settle things peacefully with Ava first. If she refused, we'd have to go to court. As for the company and its stock price, that was just a temporary loss I could handle. After work one day, I walked out of the office and saw a car parked on the street. Ava was leaning against it, a few cigarette butts at her feet. When she saw me, she quickly came over and blocked my path. Her eyes were bloodshot, her tone demanding. "Leo, we need to talk." I suppressed the sudden wave of bitterness in my heart and looked at her coldly. "Of course we can. My lawyer will be happy to talk with you. Don't think you can short me a single penny of the money we've earned all these years." The older Leo may have been a fool, but the younger Leo wasn't a pushover. Ava's eyes darkened, as if provoked. She sneered, "Leo, how dare you? How dare you let that woman, Laura, get involved in our marriage?" I don't know if it was my imagination, but after becoming a successful businesswoman, Ava had learned to mask her emotions. She rarely showed anger or joy. The only 2 times she had lost her composure and freaked out were both related to Laura. The last time she had cursed Laura out was when I ran into her at a party, though we hadn't even exchanged a word. When we were young, Ava's family was rich, while Laura came from a poor background with only her grades to her name. Later, when Ava and I were together, struggling to make ends meet, she never paid Laura much mind. Ava's feelings for Laura were a mix of disgust and apprehension, but she had never shown fear. Just as I was about to speak, a voice came from behind me. Laura was holding a stack of files, looking like she hadn't slept well, but every inch of her, from her hair to her shoes, was impeccably styled. She was infuriating, and her tongue had only gotten sharper with age. "Ms. Ross, please don't refer to me as that woman. Address me by my proper title, Mr. Leo's lead divorce counsel. Leo, let's go. Don't waste another word on the enemy. It's not in our best interest." Ava grabbed my wrist, her grip surprisingly strong, a clear statement that she wouldn't let go. She turned slightly, her gaze passing over me to land on Laura. Ava's lips curled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes, tinged with a casual arrogance. "Laura," she began, her voice low but each word carrying clearly. "You've been waiting for this day for a long time, haven't you?" She paused, her eyes sweeping over my angry face. A flicker of recognition crossed her features, and her confidence seemed to swell. "Too bad. Your reputation as a star lawyer is about to be shattered by me." The wind rustled Laura's blouse. Her face was impassive, but a shadow crossed her eyes, hiding a flicker of emotion. She lowered her gaze. "Leo, I organized a lot of documents last night. Do you want to take a look?" Just as she finished speaking, the car door next to us flew open and a small figure rushed out. Alex pushed Laura aside and stood next to his mother, his little face contorted with anger. "Stay away from my dad. Don't you have your own husband?" Laura stood her ground, looked down at him, and asked with genuine curiosity, not anger, "How do you know I don't have a husband?" "Enough." I frowned. "Ava, I hope you'll seriously consider the divorce. If we can't part amicably, I have no problem taking legal action." I didn't spare Alex another glance. Ava nudged his shoulder, and he suddenly stood in front of me. He looked up at me, his eyes red. "Dad, Robert's cooking is terrible. I haven't had a full meal in days." I looked at him seriously. "Then have your mother hire a new cook." "Alex, I'm not your nanny." "Uncle Leo." A red sports car pulled up, and a little girl in a frilly dress ran toward me. "Come to my house for dinner." Just as I was about to bend down and take her hand, Alex exploded. He cried and pried my hand away from Mia's. He was frantic, sobbing and screaming as he confronted Mia. "Don't you have your own daddy? Why are you holding my daddy's hand?" Mia looked at him, confused. "You're so weird. I have a mommy and an uncle." "Oh, I get it. Uncle Leo doesn't want you anymore. Soon you'll be the one with no daddy." Ava picked up the crying Alex. The urgency and resentment in her eyes were gone, replaced by a heavy, almost certain coldness. "Leo," she wiped the tears from her son's face with her thumb. "He's begging you like this, crying his heart out, and you're completely unmoved. You have a heart of stone. But I don't believe you can really abandon your son. One day you will regret this." I watched her carry the child away, step by step. Regret? Maybe. The bond of blood is not easily broken. I was destined never to have another child. Perhaps that was one of the reasons Ava was so sure I would regret it. In the days that followed, Ava didn't come back. But I saw Alex a few times. Once or twice he snuck into my office, and another time he was out with Ethan. When Ethan saw me, he took off his sunglasses and smiled. "Actually, Shelley and I lost touch ages ago, let alone had a kid. You're really easy to fool. I heard your divorce from Ava is on the schedule. All my hard work didn't go to waste. Whether he had a child or not was meaningless to me now." I glanced at him. "Aren't you afraid this will get out and you'll be finished in the entertainment industry?" He curled his red lips into a smile. "What's so great about the entertainment industry? I work my ass off shooting a few shows, And the money I make in a month isn't even half of what your wife gives me as pocket money. Go ahead, leak it. Let them curse me out. I'll just quit. You think I care? I had been too naive. Anyone who latched onto a cash cow like Ava wouldn't let go easily. Being Ava's mistress, the moral condemnation was nothing compared to a fortune you couldn't earn in several lifetimes. I glanced at my phone, which was recording, and ignored him. Ava was a businesswoman who calculated everything. Although she spent resources promoting Ethan, she was precise about the return on investment, always keeping him just outside the A-list. That way, he wouldn't attract too much attention and bring up more trouble, nor would he become uncontrollable. A few days later, it was Mia's birthday. I bought a gift and went to Wendy's house. When I arrived, I was surprised to see Laura there too.
Ich glänzte hier.
Why did she always dress so flamboyantly? Are all lawyers this free? When Laura saw me, she opened her mouth, thought for a moment, and finally said, "The process is moving quickly. Don't worry, you won't lose a single cent." Then, a flash of annoyance crossed her face. "Let's not talk about that. It's Mia's birthday. I'm her friend." I laughed out loud. "A friend from a different generation? Laura, why are you being so awkward? It's like you're regressing." Just then, Mia, in her princess dress, ran over and pointed at Laura's phone. "Uncle Leo, in here." The little girl's words were unclear. Patted her head. "What is it?" "Photo. Leo CMMPH, what are you?" Before she could finish, Laura scooped her up and covered her mouth. "Okay, Mia, you're talking too much. Auntie Laura has a present for you." I smiled, not thinking much of it. After dinner, Wendy and I stood on the balcony with glasses of wine, enjoying the breeze. Inside, Laura was playing games with Mia. The light fell on her, and the unmarried young woman suddenly had the air of a gentle, caring wife. I must have been drunk. I looked at Wendy and asked with great interest, "Laura definitely has a crush on you, right? Otherwise, why would a high-powered lawyer who's always busy be at your beck and call like this?" The moment I finished, Wendy spat out a mouthful of wine, looking at me in horror, then with a look of utter exasperation. "You can't feel it?" I was completely clueless. "Feel what?" she said, a little pityingly. "Never mind. It's not my place to say. I can only wish her good luck." I just smiled, assuming she was just being modest. After all, I'd never been sensitive to that sort of thing. Thinking about it, only an affection as bold and public as Ava's could have ever gotten through to me. If Ava had been shy and secretive when we were young, I never would have been interested in her. I casually asked around and found out that Wendy had gone to the same university as Ava and me. Back then, she was very poor, surviving on financial aid. Her relationship with her ex-husband began when he casually bought her a cup of coffee. At that point, Wendy had never even tasted coffee in her 20 years of life. She swirled her wine glass. "Julian's mother looked down on me. To marry me, he was cut off financially for a year. Later, she felt sorry for him living in a cramped rental with me and mercifully let us come back. For 5 years, I was like her personal maid. Aside from the formal greetings, I did everything a maid would do. Even though their family had money, when she was bedridden after surgery, she insisted I clean her up with my bare hands. Disgusting, right? But I never complained, for Julian and Mia. Leo, don't ever try to change someone who doesn't like you. In that house, there was never a dish I liked, never an outfit I wanted to wear. I tried so hard to please her, but she was constantly telling Julian to divorce me. Sometimes she'd even cheerfully scout out second wife candidates for him, saying it was good to be prepared. Do you know how she introduced me to one of those women? Our little maid. She saw the sympathy in my eyes and gave a careless laugh. It's all in the past. The only thing I'm grateful for is that Mia stuck with me, and Julian's mom didn't like my daughter anyway. So for her, I have to make good money. Even if I can't match her father's family, I want her to have a happy, carefree life. She paused. That son of yours. I looked over at Mia, then thought for a moment. If he were half as good as Mia, I would fight for him with everything I have. That night, I drank too much. I vaguely remember Laura taking me home. The next morning, I stared at the ceiling for a long time before finally recalling something. I must have lost my mind. I actually asked Laura if she was for sale. And she, getting into the role, acted all shy as if she was really about to become my mistress. I had grabbed her by the collar, messing up her shirt and revealing her delicate collarbone. Then, don't let your wife find out, okay? Nothing should have happened, but just in case, I braced myself and sent a probing text. Laura replied quickly, her tone like a wife complaining about a husband who couldn't perform. You're a real charmer when you drink. I replied sincerely, thanks. I can hold my liquor pretty well, actually. The next second, she sent a photo. The strap of a silk nightgown had slipped, revealing her delicate collarbone and a patch of pale skin marked with a few bruises, making it look even whiter. Leo, you get violent when you drink. Did you ever hit your soon-to-be ex-wife when you were drunk? I closed my eyes. I don't think so. Over the years, I'd learned how to drink for business. If I didn't want to get drunk, no one could make me. Last night, I had gotten too caught up in my conversation with Wendy, venting too much, and that's why I got drunk. Laura sent a pouting, arms crossed emoji and said nothing more. She seemed quite happy. I have to say, Laura's reputation as a star divorce lawyer was well earned. Besides gathering complete evidence of Ava's infidelity, Laura had uncovered some other things. Even if Ava had the energy to drag things out, the company's board of directors wouldn't let her. The day I got my divorce certificate, a hot breeze blew past, and for a moment, I was back in that noisy school hallway on a summer afternoon. I looked at the somewhat disheveled Ava and said softly, 17 years of knowing each other, 12 years of weathering storms together. It all ends today. She looked away, her fingers trembling. Why? I already dealt with Ethan. Why did you suddenly want a divorce? You're even abandoning your own son. Leo, everyone makes mistakes. With the Ethan thing, we both know the mistake was your misunderstanding. Yet you avoided me like the plague, looked at me like I was trash. I admit I was a fool when it came to Ethan, but I only sought him out to make you look at me again. Did we get to this point because it was all my fault? Leo, ask yourself, have you ever truly trusted me? At this point, I had no energy to argue with her about right and wrong. I just said, now you're blaming me? Did I send Ethan to your bed? I should have divorced you years ago, the day Alex was born. These past few years were just a chance for us, a chance you threw away. I turned to leave, but she asked in a hoarse voice, what about Alex? He's sick and keeps calling for his dad. Can you really be so heartless? If he's sick, the Ross family has plenty of money for doctors. His father can't cure him. Laura got out of her car and I got in. Through the window, I saw her talking to Ava. Ava had a cigarette between her fingers, gripping it so tightly her knuckles turned white. Laura, you waited all these years just for today. You instigated Leo to divorce me, but what do you think you'll get? He'll never trust marriage again. The thing you've been dreaming of is destined to fail, just like it did for me. Laura smiled and said earnestly, whatever he wants. Whatever role he's willing to give me, I'll take it. She narrowed her eyes and said suddenly, you probably don't know this, but I've learned a lot of tricks to seduce Leo. If you two hadn't divorced, you would have had a lover, and he would have had one too. That would be fair. I was lost in thought for a moment. When Laura got into the car, her eyes were bruised. I grabbed her by the chin. Did she hit you? It's nothing. It doesn't hurt, Laura said, her long lashes fluttering as she let out a soft hiss. I cursed Ava a few more times and bent down to look for the first aid kit in the car. Laura smiled almost imperceptibly and tugged on my sleeve. After a long moment, she asked, that love letter I gave you in our sophomore year, you threw it in the trash the next day. Did you hate me that much? I froze, not knowing which part of that sentence to be more surprised about. But I quickly shook my head. No, it wasn't me. I never even saw your love letter. How could I have thrown it away? She pressed her lips together, seeming to realize something, and didn't press further. She just said in a gentle voice, then I'll write you another one. You're not allowed to throw it away. In recent days, with Wendy's not-so-subtle hints and Laura's unconcealed feelings, I had long realized I'd been wrong about her and Wendy. Life needs a little fun. Hearing her, I raised an eyebrow. Go ahead and write it. It might take a while. How long? Roughly a lifetime. Is that okay? My fingertips, which had been applying medicine to her face, paused mid-air. I looked straight into her eyes, which were a swirling mix of nervousness, sincerity, and affection, creating a look of pure terror. I lowered my head, applying a little pressure with my fingertips. Where did you learn such cheesy pickup lines? So lame. Laura winced in pain and took the opportunity to grab my wrist. Her warm lips pressed a reverent kiss onto the palm of my hand as she looked at me without blinking. Her eyes were like a fox's, cool and captivating. In the years that followed, I lived freely and without restraint. Only once, Ava left our 5-year-old son out in the cold, let him get sick, and then called me. When I found out, Ava's laugh was chilling. I told you before, a child who can't keep you here is worthless to me. I slapped her hard and screamed at her until I was hoarse. In the end, the boy was sent to live with his maternal grandparents. I thought life would just go on like this, until I opened my eyes one day to the ceiling of my dorm room. I realized I was back at 19, but I knew with certainty that it hadn't been a dream. It was real. My future with Ava was one of a young couple who wouldn't grow old together. The next morning, I looked down from my balcony and saw the beautiful, tall figure of Ava already waiting downstairs. Why? You promised yesterday. How could you forget after one night's sleep? Please stop messing with me. Young Ava's face was pale with anxiety. I get it. You want to wait a little longer, right? That's okay. We can just go back to how things were. It was strange. I could curse at and even hit the 31-year-old Ava. But facing the 19-year-old Ava, I only felt regret. I had liked her so much too. I told her seriously, no. What I mean is, I don't like you, and I won't be with you now or ever. Even though I made it crystal clear that day, Ava still didn't believe me. She thought I was just angry and kept hovering around me. One day, she came in the pouring rain, rushing into the hallway and pulling back a cloth to reveal a soaked kitten. Her hair was also drenched, clinging pitifully to her forehead. Last time you wanted to adopt a cat and I said no. Are you mad about that? I took it to get its shots. It's clean now. We can keep it. I didn't take the cat. She came back with other things. We were too late last time and didn't get to the front of the line. You were still thinking about that food you missed, right? I went to line up first thing this morning. Still hot. She went through our past, eliminating one possibility after another, until she couldn't find any more reasons. She blocked my path. The girl who had always held her head so high, her eyes now red. Leo, what did I do wrong? Tell me and I'll change everything. As if all her strength had given out, she couldn't stand any longer and fell to her knees, hugging my legs. I'm begging you, please don't leave me. I can't live without you. I looked down at the top of her dark head. I believed her. At least, the Ava of this moment was sincere. In those future years, I saw myself getting seriously ill in the second year after graduation. By then, Ava's family was broke, and we were struggling financially. The surgery cost $400,000. Ava couldn't raise the money. She heard that some people she had offended in the past had found her. If she was willing to kneel and kowtow to them in apology, they would give her the money. Ava didn't hesitate for a second. She knelt and bowed her head. The group of rich kids laughed, throwing the money on the ground. She picked it up bill by bill. Just before I went into surgery, I discovered she had hidden sleeping pills. That night, I lay in the hospital bed, crying as I asked her why. Her eyes were dark with exhaustion as she held my hand tightly. Leo, if you're not here, I won't live alone. How ridiculous. She loved me as much as her own life, but what did it matter? My life had started over. I would not gamble on it again, no matter what. Later, I heard that Ava had attempted suicide and almost didn't make it. Ava's mother, though a lady of high society, had never once tried to interfere in our relationship. When she came to persuade me, her attitude was kind, but I was firm. Before she left, she looked at me and sighed. It seems my daughter just isn't fortunate enough. After that, even when we crossed paths, I acted as if I didn't see Ava. Following my memory, I found Wendy on the street, handing out flyers. If the 30-year-old her was a fiery rose, The one before me was a cool, resilient, beautiful flower. I grabbed her without explanation. "Come on. I'll buy you a coffee." She was bewildered. "What are you doing? I don't know you." I paused, thinking. "Don't want coffee? How about bubble tea? Or do you want a drink?" Wendy picked up her mascot head and dutifully handed me a flyer. "I don't want anything." After my persistent pestering, Wendy's first cup of coffee was finally on me. After that, I kept bothering her. And Julian never appeared again. Or maybe he did, and I just didn't know. The story followed its own path. In the years that followed, relying on my memories, I hit one investment boom after another. In just a few short years, Wendy and I founded a company together. The company grew and grew, and Wendy became a powerhouse businesswoman again, clacking around in high heels and counting money. She didn't marry Julian. She married a man who treated her very well, and even his family, feeling for her past hardships, cherished her. What I found most incredible was that Wendy had a daughter in the second year of her marriage, and her daughter grew up to look exactly like Mia. Once she could talk, she would also offer me candy and call out, "Uncle Leo," in a way that always melted my heart. As for Ava, even though I had given her mother a heads up, her family still went bankrupt. Ava still embarked on the path of entrepreneurship, but she had yet to succeed and was still spinning her wheels. I remembered the years we built our business together. Ava had been a princess. No matter how much she suffered, some parts of her personality never changed. So, much of the time, I had to be the one to navigate the social niceties for her, both in public and behind the scenes, pulling strings and making connections. I remembered one year, she was struggling to secure an investment from Innovatech, and the company was in trouble. I asked around and found the husband of Innovatech as CEO, planning a roundabout approach. At that time, there was a patch of mud outside his apartment building that the property management had neglected to fix. Every time he came home, he would frown at the dirt on his shoes. Starting the next day, I brought a handkerchief and, before he entered his building, I would kneel and carefully wipe his shoes. I bent over like that, smiling and wiping his shoes for half a month. Finally, one day, after he opened his door, he turned and called out to me, "Come in for a bit, Mr. Leo." But I never told Ava about these things. Even now, she has no idea how some of those deals were really made. After coming back, I handled everything properly, but I always felt like I was forgetting something. Until one night, I suddenly remembered a pair of beautiful fox-like eyes. "Oh, I forgot about Laura. Never mind." I thought about it and lay back down. Laura's future was perfect. I was better off not interfering. I was determined not to seek out Laura, but I ran into her at a street corner. The Laura before me was less a polished bombshell than her 30-year-old self, but she had a captivating, girlish charm. This time, she got straight to the point. "I want to ask you, that love letter I gave you in our sophomore year, did you throw it away because you hated me?" I feigned a moment of thought, then uttered a single word. "Forgot." Laura's eyes fell, her knuckles turning white as she clenched her fists. I smiled and raised an eyebrow. "But you could always write me another one. I promise I won't throw it away this time." At my words, she looked up sharply, her face a picture of disbelief. The spring wind carries its message, the flowers bloom in their time. "Laura, you can take your time writing that letter.